Next up, a project all the way from Florida. Yeah, no joke. We're on the other side of the country, northwise, but this boat made its way from its winter residence in Florida to their summer home and up to us all the way in Michigan. It'll go right back to Florida when we're done with it. This is a 2000 Fisher. It's a 24-foot boat, big boat, huge pontoons, 27-inch pontoons, a lot of buoyancy. It's getting new everything. New railings, flooring, which, spoiler, composite deck on this boat. Not aluminum like we did on the Tracker. Fisher is a sister brand, if you want to call it, of Tracker. They no longer make them, but this has a composite deck, so we'll show you what that looks like. Seating, fishing accessories, trolling motor, all the bells and whistles, and a brand new Pro XS 115 horse Mercury. Let's just walk around it, show you what it looks like now, and then we'll tear into it. The old outdated railings with the curves, the open space, the console, you'll see that in a second, is just trashed from the sun. Weird little spot for a door back here, but hey, you gotta have that entry, I guess, on this side. So on the new railing kit, it'll get a stern entry on the side here in the back. Pretty nice motor, actually. We hooked up the vessel view to this. Only had 190 hours on it, but we're gonna max out the horsepower rating. That 115 horse Pro XS is actually putting out more like 125 horsepower. So, and it also has the larger gear case. It's a Pro XS command thrust, so 150 horse gear case. Spins a 15 to 16 inch prop, a lot more power, and it's about the same weight, I think, as this old 90 here, 2010 model. Let's go inside. You'll see more when we get inside, but the carpet's just wearing, worn out. This is all chipping. I'm wondering if somebody maybe painted this white at some point. Otherwise, the sun's just cooked that little housing. We'll do our docking lights in the railings, our navigation lights in the railings. A lot more sleek, a lot more modern. We will leave a front deck, though, for some fishing seats and a 24-volt MinnKota trolling motor. Come check out the seats in this thing. So, big seats. Big lounger seats, but everything's just kind of falling apart. You've got color fade that's happened over the years. You've got some rips and some crunchy vinyl here. Plastic bases, so hopefully somebody can use these, maybe have them recovered or just use them as is. It'll be a lot nicer than nothing if you got an empty boat. Console, like I said, just trashed. The sun just cooked that thing over the years. I'm just kind of looking to see if how fun this is going to be to work on. My theory on this, if you have a Tracker or a Fisher, they're really the only brands that use this concealed side mount control. So it's all inside of here. I think they buy so many of these from Mercury for bass boats and fishing boats that they say, hey, we got a ton of them, we might as well throw them on pontoon boats. So they design their pontoon consoles around this control box. Not my favorite to work on. Good chance this is gonna get hacked right off, thrown away because it's aged, it's loose. Things don't seem to be real nice there. It'll get all new dash gauges, all of that. I call not it on the toilet back there. We're gonna put somebody else on getting that off the boat. I got just the guy for that. Yeah, I can't get this toilet. I don't know if there's anything in it. Excuse you. The other thing that's got me curious, I'm just gonna call it out right now. Can you see that movement? So the seams of this PVC board are loose. I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know if we can expose it. It looks like I have hardware. You can see where the hardware is. I love it. So check this out. PVC board, adhesive. Yes, we're gonna have to heated power wash that off. But look at the gap we have here and look what happened to the hardware. We're gonna have to figure out how we can make this smoother, cleaner, because on the vinyl, you'll be able to see it. We definitely will fix it so that you won't feel these moving. You can see all that movement there. These bolts really aren't doing anything at this point. It's kind of scary. So we'll remedy that, obviously. Kind of figure out what we're gonna do with that. Start brainstorming, got a noodle on that one. Marty and Logan are gonna tear this thing down, and then we'll get to remedying this and putting it all back together. Stay tuned, like Pontoons. Oh, get that turlet out of there.
Oh, touch that thing.
Just give it a shake. Does it slosh?
Yeah, I hear stuff in there.
Oh! That looks like water. Like I said, not it.
Not it. Not it.
Marty's on critter patrol right now. He claims that there's a big ol' cockroach. Now we gotta find it, obviously. I've got a few other big projects out, so finally we get to tear into this boat. Everything's loosened. Marty went ahead and went around. It is a 2-person job, so check this out. These railings, all of the hardware is on the inside for access and then underneath. Typically that means a 2-person job. If you're working by yourself, it's all doable. You're probably gonna have to clamp a vice grip onto the nut on the bottom and then loosen from the top and just go one at a time. Everything's figure-outable, so keep that in mind. I'm gonna do, I guess, the easy part. I don't know, it depends what you wanna call it. I'm gonna get all the railings off, the seats off. I gotta unhook everything from the helm yet. And remember, we are starting fresh. It's one of the beautiful things when doing all new everything is that you get to start over. You can rip all of that old electrical out, run a new harness, run it clean, tidy, the way that you want to do it. Our dash has all of the resettable breakers on it, so we don't need to worry about a fuse block or anything else. Get rid of that stuff. Plug and play all of the electrical from PontoonStuff.com. They've made it easier for the DIY folks at home to do this than it's ever been before. So if you're ordering stuff, you're a little nervous, get it all new electrical, the wiring harness, the switch panels, it's plug and play. That's what we're doing on this boat, but I got to get everything off of it first. Let's get to work. Everything else is off the boat except the deck trim, and this is quite a fun surprise. This trim is held on by a bajillion screws. It's a real term, bajillion. Those are coming out of all of these spots right now, and the only way to get at them, you guessed it, you got to pull this off. And then what do you get when they didn't use stainless from the factory? I don't understand this at all, but you get rusty stripped screws. These ones are fine, but not so much these. So this will come off in one piece. I gotta look and see if I can get a trim and put some nice black trim in and get rid of this old nasty mildewy weathered stuff. But I'm gonna have to look to see what the spacing is, the measurements of this trim and what this track system needs to take. You just pull on it, it comes right out, but you can see all these screws that are holding this trim in. So we'll get a look at it, see what we can come up with, see if there's a trim to replace that. Wish me luck. Otherwise, it's getting all new trim pieces. So the spot on the floor was all risen up, and I wanted to see why. And then I pulled this apart, and this hardware just crumbled. So presumably not stainless, rotting underneath, and that's part of the bolt head right there. So I was able to get that nut off, but then I moved to this one and it just spun. It's all corroded in there. And we get to deal with this fun tape again. Just dealt with this on the tracker, the aluminum deck. They do the same thing. There's a strip of tape going all the way along the outside of this as well. I'm not sure if that was like a double-sided sticky tape at some point. Who even knows? And there are staples too. So I get to fight these little staples. Funny that they used stainless steel staples from what it looks like, but not stainless hardware. I'm gonna keep tearing at this. I gotta get a plan going, talk to the customer, see what we want to do. Every single one has a gap in it. There's really no reason for that unless they're expecting some sort of drastic expansion, contraction of the plastic. But if I leave this gap here, you're gonna see it on the vinyl, and that's no good. Okay, I get it. Some of you anti-plywood people out there, you are gonna lose your minds on this, but we reach out to the customer. We're gonna replace that PVC board with CCA marine grade treated plywood. We're gonna reinstall the tar tape on every single cross member on this boat. That's how it was from the factory, so we're gonna go ahead and repeat that. And Everything looks great for this boat, even coming from Florida, having potentially spent some time in some brackish or salt water. We're gonna save a few $100, but going with plywood. And the condition of that PVC board was absolutely terrible. We were gonna have to replace all of the hardware. All of those deck bolts were rotten, rusted. Half of them, just the heads of them fell right apart. Came out actually fairly easy, only had to cut a handful of them. But we're gonna go ahead now and I'm gonna trace the front and back board. We're gonna reuse the deck trim. We got all this is gonna come back together pretty quick. You've got to also keep in mind that the plywood that we use on these pontoon boats is rated for 30-year lifespan. The other thing to know is that PVC board, it's outside right now and I'm gonna go trace it onto my plywood. It becomes like a wet noodle when it gets hot. It's just sitting out in the sun. It's like 85, 90 degrees out, but it's in the sun right now. And that stuff is so wobbly compared to when I took it off the boat when it was in here and it was like in the 70s inside. So something to consider. I think the heat impacts that stuff big time, and that's why we saw those 1/4-inch gaps. I think that they were accounting for expansion and contraction of the PVC board. I don't know that much about composite decking, but personally, I'm putting plywood on my boat every single time. I like the aluminum decks. They're cool. They're a little more work to do, but this composite board, I think it had to go. And there it is, Inland Plywood Company. That's the same stamp you're gonna see on your brand new boats, like a Bennington or any of the big name brands that are using the CCA treated plywood. This is marine grade. It's made for pontoon boats. This comes from PontoonStuff.com. It's not from Menards. It's not from Home Depot. PontoonStuff.com is the place to get it, and this is the type of plywood to use on your boat, no exceptions. Nowadays, the prices of Menards marine grade, in quotes, plywood is almost the same as this, and they'll deliver this to your door via FedEx Freight. The other fun thing is that I just picked up this Mercury 115 Pro XS command thrust. That's going on as soon as we get the deck and vinyl on. Couple notes while we're decking this. We are using a stainless steel deck bolt. That's what these are, and we just pre-drill our 1/4-inch hole. We run a 1-inch hole cutting bit. Looks like that. Just to cut into, basically through one layer of plywood to make room for this to sit down flush. If you go a little deep, not a big deal. There's maybe a 1/16 of an inch here. That's okay. The glue will fill that in. You'll never feel it. No need to fill it with a wood glue or a wood filler. Sometimes that will pull up when you're gluing the deck down, cause you more trouble, but a little indentation is not a big deal. A big rise is, you'll feel this if it's sitting on top like this. You would feel that on your feet under vinyl for sure. And if you're doing a boat at home and you're looking at your seams and you're thinking, gosh, these aren't perfectly level. If you look in here, you can see my new stainless steel. But if you look at all those extra bolts, they ran in random places on seams on this boat. At the factory, they ran tons of extra hardware. In this case, it's from the center to the far port side. There's probably an extra 7 or 8 fasteners that they added in, probably to help level the deck. So yes, you might have to add some extra fasteners. Your cross members can be twisted. Things might not sit perfect. Even though the plywood's the same every time, sometimes they just don't meet up perfectly fine. We do sweep this off, we sand it down, add fasteners if we need to get it as flat and even as possible. One last noteworthy thing, this is where an old piece of hardware went through. They did use stainless nuts on these, not stainless bolts, but stainless nuts. Very little to no reaction there, so we are gonna go ahead, we're gonna use stainless. I still would rather use stainless. That's from the last 15 years or so down in Florida, and very minimal reaction with the aluminum and stainless. I'm no metallurgist. I'm not claiming to be an expert on how 2 pieces or 3 pieces, wood, stainless, and aluminum, react. I go by what I've seen and what I've experienced. We're nearing 100+ boats that we've restored. We've seen a couple now that have been in salt water, a lot of them that have been in marinas or freshwater. We've seen it all. We've seen varied level of corrosion. Typically it's like this, it's minimal if anything, maybe a little powder on top from things reacting. My biggest beef with the internet today is that we all speak as fact all the time, but all we gotta do is say, in my experience, or in my opinion, or from what I've heard, preface your statement and then give your opinion or what you've heard or what you've experienced. There's a lot of good conversations out there about pontoon boats on Facebook groups, forums, that sort of thing. But there's a lot of just negativity. There's a lot of information that people are winging, I think. So unfortunately, I had to take a step back from those groups, give myself a break so I didn't lose my mind. I want to help as many people as possible, so we're just going to keep focusing on doing it here on YouTube. But that's my spiel on metal and why we're doing what we're doing on this boat. It's based on what we've experienced. And this boat had tar tape on every seam from the factory, so we're just repeating that here. I'm here at the shop this morning by myself, so it's gonna be a little different after video. These kind of projects, we've talked about this on videos in the past, it can be really hard because I gotta get these projects done and trying to shoot content of the whole thing. Sometimes you just have to be working on the boat and I have to leave the content behind. So we'll try to fill you in on everything I did. I'm gonna walk you through this from behind the camera today and just point out the different things that we did on this boat, different options that were added. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Right now the seat covers are on. I'm gonna pop those off. We do individual seat covers. And I've mentioned this before, but we can only do those with a boat in-house. I've had people ask if we can ship them seat covers. Doesn't quite work like that. Even if you have the Pontoon Stuff railings and seats, every boat is just a little bit different. And our seamstress literally sews for each boat when they're here to line everything up, get the snaps in place, the seams and everything all correct. So that's just a little note there. But let's walk through this, starting on the outside of the boat, talk about those key points and details that we did on this restoration project. And I think here's the big starting point, something you haven't seen us do before, and that's this double bimini. So this is two of the Pontoon Stuff bimini tops. We have a 10-footer in the back, an 8-foot up front, but what we did is we disassembled the 8-footer and used half of it along with the canvas, and our seamstress added a zipper, so that does come right apart. You could stow this front portion forward, tipped down, however you need to do it. And then also the back can tip back or stow all the way down as well. So really cool there. This is the blue railing kit from PontoonStuff.com. Really modern, really sleek. We can do our LED docking lights, LED navigation lights. And on this boat, we left about 36 inches of front deck space to make a really nice fishing platform. A couple of swiveling fishing seats. We'll talk about those in a minute when we take the cover off. And a MinnKota Tarova. This is a 24 volt, 80 pound thrust. Something to note on this is a 45-inch shaft. That is what MinnKota recommends on a pontoon boat, is a 45-inch shaft. That's what they would do for a pontoon model. Plenty of distance down into the water. This can extend well beyond the bottoms of the pontoons. Those are never coming out of the water. Yeah, if you're on really rough water, you might need a longer shaft trolling motor, but are you really gonna be trying to use a trolling motor if the water is that rough? This is a pretty common thing that we add on. Just a little welded up housing for our plug, for our electrical, just to keep things nice and tidy, keep it easy. You can unplug this, pull it right out, take the trolling motor right off. It's on a quick release bracket, and that just helps conceal all that wiring that's then gonna run across the boat. Just a nice clean way to do it. And this one, it has iPilot. You can use a lanyard to run it, or you can hook a foot pedal to it as well. A really big obvious upgrade is this 115 Pro XS Mercury, and it's a command thrust, meaning that it runs that larger propeller. This is about 125 horsepower after we take into account the Pro XS, or the souped upness. That's a word today, souped upness. But it runs the same gear case as a 150, spins a big propeller. I think we have a 15-inch diameter on this motor for the propeller. That's a big prop to move a nice big 24-foot boat like this. Stainless steel ladder. I get asked a lot about ladders. This thing flips down. It darn near hits the floor down here. I've climbed up and down it a couple times just playing around in and out of the boat. Stainless steel cleats, those are from Pontoon Stuff as well. And on this deck trim, this used to be like kind of this cream colored nasty trim that was in here. I just went online, I did a lot of searching. This ended up coming from Amazon, a nice black trim that fits in there. It's for boats and RVs, so it's made for it. It's UV rated, but we were able to rip out the old nasty mildewy trim and replace it with black. Let's go ahead, hop up in here and take a look at the inside. Remember, everything you see in this video as we walk through this boat, console, seats, flooring, biminis, everything is from PontoonStuff.com. We've got a coupon code in the description of this video for PontoonStuff.com to save you money, and it helps our channel. So looking into the boat now, we've got the luxury gray with navy seating, all the bench seats, the captain's chairs like that. You'll see that in a minute. But what's really cool about Pontoon Stuff, and especially particularly Deckmate boat seats, these are from their sister website, still owned by Pontoon Stuff and everything, but bassboatseats.com. They've got all sorts of fishing seats that match really well, same vinyls and colors as the other Deckmate pontoon seats. So we have two swiveling seats, these fold down, nice and easy, but nice high back, really comfortable fishing seat option there. Trolling motor, when that deploys, it just slides out from underneath there. That way it's not too much in the way. We can still enter and exit the door, walk right out, deploy it, and then this is all nice and open up here for fishing. Coming into the boat, we've got 55-inch bench on this side. So really common, just in terms of modern updating. We eliminated the door here on the starboard side, kept it on the port, and that allows us for a nice long bench to fit in. 30-inch corners, big comfy corner seat with a lean back, and then on this side, 30-inch corner, 38-inch bench to make room for that door, and then our lean back there as well. Again, there's that door, and underneath here, this is where you can see the zipper added in for that double bimini. So that zips and snaps, makes things really clean, and that way it's not going anywhere. But again, these are both canvases from PontoonStuff.com, frames and all. Material-wise, to do this, if you can sew a zipper in or take it to a shop that can do that, and it's still gonna be probably under 800 bucks for a double bimini, both canvases, both frames. I don't know what that would cost you from a factory, you know, actually in terms of a boat manufacturer, but I'm sure this is gonna be a lot more cost effective. In the back, lean back, 55-inch bench. That's a 28 corner there, really comfortable seat. If I were cruising in here, I would probably choose that corner to kick back and relax in. 28-inch bench, and this houses our battery for our accessories and the motor here. That all runs nice and clean, so there's no wiring really other than right in the transom. Fuel line runs underneath the floor as well, and that's in that compartment over here. We were able to fit a 23-gallon fuel tank in. Pop this open and show you. So a little unique in terms of design. We did end up having to run everything out the back. This fuel tank just didn't quite want to match up and go out the side. We had to update this. This is something that's really common if you're working with these railings. You might have trouble finding a fuel tank. I know Pontoon Stuff is working on it, but your old tank might not fit, and you might have to do some searching to find. This is a Moeller permanent tank, but this way we get the best of both worlds, and we've got our fuel in the back here, big 23-gallon tank. Triangle table here allows you to just walk right through, no problem. And a large helm decked out with all the goodies on here. We've got our gauge cluster. Everything lights up with the key on power. Gas tank is full. We're in good shape that way. Carbon fiber for all the accents here. We always do that glove box. That's part of the reason I love this large helm. Trolling motor control, owner's manuals, all that fun stuff. Brand new rigging for the motor, key switch, shift throttle, and we did a nice big destroyer wheel here. It's got actually a speed knob for easier steering. Bluetooth stereo, little Garmin fish finder that gives you a lot of data, but mainly looking for depth, and you can set depth alarms with that. Always a big plus, we've got this stern entry, so that's a place where we change a lot of boats to make them more modern, more practical by adding in the stern entry with a swim ladder here, but this is also a starboard entry point if we're at a dock. This houses a magma grill. I'm gonna actually go grab that right now. Let me show you what that looks like. There you go. Magma grill, all stainless. These are a high-end option for any boat, but with the rail mount system here, they have this bracket and attachment where we can rig this on a pontoon. It's bolted through. It's not going anywhere. Yeah, if you're in rough seas, this might move a little bit out here, but it's gonna keep everything in the grill. Not gonna worry about losing food. A little propane tank can run off of, just a camping style. So lightweight, easy to use, easy to operate, really nice look. And it gets us out over the side of the boat so that we're not having to deal with a grill on the floor or stuff spilling on the floor. We got it all outside the boat. Really like that. It's a really cool touch for this boat. That's a wrap on this boat. We're all finished up. It's heading home down south. It's got to get ready for its winter in Florida coming up at the end of this year. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you on the next video.